Mia, you'll never be as good as your sister. She said it so casually, stirring her tea like she hadn't just driven a knife through me. The room froze. Even the clock seemed to hesitate between ticks. I looked up from the bills scattered on the table, and for the first time in my life, I didn't swallow it. I stood up, leveled my voice, and said, "Then ask her to pay your bills." Silence. A silence so deep I could hear her pulse falter. It wasn't the first time she'd compared us. It started when we were kids. Sophie with her piano recitals, her perfect hair, her perfect grades, and me? The emotional one, the dreamer, the one who just doesn't have Sophie's discipline. She adored Sophie the way people admire artwork, from a distance, careful not to smudge the shine. But I was the handprint on the frame. Always too much, never enough. Still, I stayed. I took her shopping when she couldn't drive anymore, paid the bills when her pension wasn't enough, fixed the house when the pipes burst. She'd thank me, briefly, before adding, "Your sister would have done it better." Funny thing is, Sophie never did it at all. The real betrayal came quietly, the way all betrayals do. It was last year. Mom's health had declined, so I moved in for a while. Sophie visited once, maybe twice, always with flowers and excuses. Then one night I walked past Mom's study and heard her whispering on the phone. "Don't tell Mia, she'll only make it dramatic." Pause. "Yes, transfer it to Sophie's account. She deserves it more." I stopped breathing. The inheritance, the savings Dad left, everything, all of it, rerouted to the golden child. That's when something in me shifted. I didn't cry, I didn't shout, I just walked to my room, opened my laptop, and started planning. The next morning, I was calm. I helped her with breakfast, smiled as she criticized my cooking, and asked her for the usual, her bills, receipts, the house paperwork. She handed them over without question. She trusted me to manage it all. She always did. Over the next few months, I quietly took back what she'd stolen. Every utility, every mortgage, every insurance plan, all in her name now. I canceled the joint account I used for her groceries and made sure the credit cards she used were linked to her own funds. Then I called the bank. Sophie's transfer was reported for review. Something about an unauthorized signature. I knew they'd freeze it until it was resolved. Months, maybe years. I didn't need to steal. I just had to stop them from stealing from me. Sophie came storming in 2 weeks later, all perfume and pretense. "What did you do?" she hissed. I looked at her, the sister who hadn't visited for months, the one who texted Mom once a week just to stay in the will, and said, "I balanced things." She left in tears. Mom didn't speak to me for days. Then came tonight, the moment I'd been waiting for. The table was covered in unpaid bills. Her voice dripped with that familiar disdain. "You'll never be as good as your sister." The words used to crush me. Now they only confirmed what I already knew. She was blind, still chasing a daughter who existed only in her imagination. So I stood up, calm, cold, done. "Then ask her to pay your bills." Her eyes flicked to the stack. Electricity, water, medical insurance, all overdue. She reached for the envelope I'd left by her cup. Inside, her own bank statements, drained of the funds she'd misused, her frozen accounts, her name on every expense. She looked up at me, realization dawning like a slow, cruel sunrise. "What did you do?" I smiled faintly. "I stopped cleaning up your messes." That night, I packed my things. No yelling, no tears, just the quiet satisfaction of someone finally cutting the strings that held them down. By the time Sophie arrived, furious, panicked, I was gone. She'd have to explain to Mom why the money was gone, why the house was on the verge of foreclosure, why the woman they both underestimated had walked away without looking back. I left a note on the counter. You raised the wrong daughter to depend on. It's been 3 months. I live in a small apartment now. Nothing fancy, just mine. Mom calls sometimes. I don't answer. Sophie tried too, until she realized I wasn't coming back to fix the life they broke together. Sometimes I think of that night, her face, pale and trembling, surrounded by the bills I used to pay. And I smile, because she was right. I'll never be as good as my sister. I'm better.